Just 3 days into the year, IMF's managing director, Kristalina Georgieva, dropped the bombshell saying at least 1/3 of the global economy could experience a slowdown in 2023. The world economy is predicted to contract this year before picking up next year. In a press conference held in Singapore, the IMF stated that global growth is anticipated to decelerate from 3.4% in 2022 to 2.9% in 2023. It also predicted that the slowdown will be more pronounced for advanced economies. This definitely points to China and the USA. As of January 30th, 2023, US inflation rate is at 6.41% compared to 6.45% in the previous month and 7.48% in the previous year. This is higher than the long-term average of 3.28%. As a result, the FED approved an increase in the federal funds rate of 0.25 percentage points, which was the smallest rise since March 2022, when the tightening cycle began. With this change, the FED funds rate reached the level of 4.5 to 4.75%. Charlie Munger, now known as associate of Warren Buffett and the vice chair of Berkshire Hathaway, certainly didn't hold back his words on recession, inflation in the US when he was invited as a guest onto CNBC late last year in 2022. Talking about Japan, USA, Charlie Munger said, "We do know from what's happened in other nations that if you try and print too much money, it eventually causes terrible trouble." Regarding inflation, Kevin O'Leary said this in November of 2022, "You printed $7 trillion in 30 months. What did you think would happen? Why did the United States print more money?" The action of printing money was done in order to help the economy remain buoyant, and it's known as quantitative easing. QE was first introduced in March 2009 following the stock market crash of 2008. Whose responsibility is it? The US Federal Reserve controls the money supply in the United States. And while it doesn't actually print currency bills itself, it does determine how many bills are printed by the Treasury Department each year. And Charlie Munger didn't really refrain from criticizing the US Federal Reserve and politicians. However, he did praise them when needed. Charlie also explained that the politicians and the Federal Reserve saw money printing as the easiest solution to the debt problems of the average American. He, however, added that that was not without its long-term dangers. We know what happened in Germany when the Weimar Republic just kept printing money and the whole thing blew up, and that was a contributor to the rise of Hitler, so all this stuff is dangerous and serious, the billionaire investor said. He added that Hitler taking advantage of Germany was a combination of the Weimar inflation destroying the savings of the middle class and the Great Depression, and we know what came after that. Charlie also criticized the big players for thinking that they could keep printing money just because there was no immediate negative effect the last time they did it. If more money is printed, consumers are also able to demand more for goods. But if firms still have the same quality of goods, then they're responsible for putting up prices. In a simplified model, printing money will cause inflation. He explained that trying to solve inflation by throwing money at the problem would have been the right thing to do if they didn't go too far with it. They did overdo it though, and it increased inflation, and now the excess money printed is almost useless. To reduce inflation, the measure the Federal Reserve takes is to increase interest rates. Increased interest rates would mean increased borrowing costs. This would make people eventually spend less. And Charlie is also, as usual, aiming at digging Bitcoin promoters, as he's a known critic of the cryptocurrency world. So Charlie does not see crypto investment as a way out of the economic bubble. Bad news for those who see crypto as a way out. Charlie believes it's not really concrete and lives off of hype. He also said that big players have also used the word blockchain, a new technology, to suck investors in. He said that not every new thing is worth one's time, and that a big crypto collapse would affect the economy in a bad way. Another take by Charlie is what envy does to the average person. The world is not driven by greed, it's driven by envy, said Charlie Munger. You don't hear that often, I can bet. Charlie further explained that even though civilization came and technology improved, it only meant that some people had more and others wished they did. He described the rich purchasing an expensive Rolex watch, which they could get mugged for, as pretentious expenditure, and how even the middle class want to copy that. What this does is that it increases demand in a modern capitalist society, and when production does not increase to match demand, production companies will raise prices, leading to inflation. However, this does drive civilization and innovation. Charlie mentioned that he has seen investments bring huge ROI, but he does not see that happening in the future, or the opportunity opening up for the college graduates to make advantage of it too. It will be a long ride with incessant money printing, increasing consumer demand, which will eventually cause inflation. Also, the Federal Reserve increasing interest rates to curb the inflation will likely cause more consumer demand to reduce. This may be a never-ending cycle, and you need to prepare for it.